The second chapter of the book Go Giver is The Secret. The next morning, Joe arrived at the address Brenda had given him and pulled up into the huge circular drive. He couldn't help being impressed as he parked and looked up at the beautiful stone mansion that stretched up a good 4 stories in front of him. He gave a low whistle. This was some place. The man had clout all right. Joe had done his homework the night before. An hour on the internet had told him some pretty remarkable things about the person he was about to meet. The man known as the chairman had had a very successful career with a wide range of enterprises. Now mostly retired from his own companies, he devoted most of his time to teaching and mentoring others. He was in great demand as a consultant to Fortune 500 CEOs and as a keynote speaker at top shelf corporate events. He had become something of a legend. One article had dubbed him the business world's best kept secret. Talk about clout, thought Joe. Leverage big time. Joe, welcome. A slender man with neatly combed graying black hair, a pale blue shirt, light grey jacket, and pressed light grey slacks stood outside the great oak door. Early 60s, Joe guessed, maybe even late 50s. The man's age was one detail the internet search had not yielded. His precise net worth was another, but by all accounts it was stratospheric. The castle that stood before Joe confirmed that impression, as did the man's stately, elegant presence from his beaming expression. It was clear that his welcome was genuine and not just a figure of speech. Good morning, sir, said Joe. Thank you for taking the time to see me. You are welcome, and thank you for exactly the same reason. Pinder smiled broadly over his firm handshake. Joe returned a somewhat bewildered smile of his own and wondered, why is he thanking me? Let us head over to the terrace for a hot cup of Rachel's famous coffee, said Joe's host as he ushered him onto a small slate path that led around the side of the mansion. Surprised to be here. Actually, yes, Joe admitted. I am just wondering how many business legends would open their homes to a perfect stranger on a Saturday morning. Pinder nodded as they walked along the path. Actually, successful people do this all the time. Typically, the more successful they are, the more willing they are to share their secrets with others. Joe nodded, trying his best to believe that this could possibly be true. Pinder glanced at him, then smiled again. Appearances can deceiving, Joe. In fact, they nearly always are. They walked for a moment before Pinder continued. I was sharing a stage once with Larry King. You know, the radio and television interviewer, Joe nodded. And since he would interviewed so many famous, successful and powerful people, I thought I would check my own observations against his. Larry, I asked, are your guests as genuinely nice as they seem? Even the real superstars? He fixed me with a gaze and said, tell you what, the interesting thing is, the bigger they are, the nicer they are. Something about Pinder's warm, raspy voice had put Joe curiously at ease from the first moment he heard it. Now he identified that something. It was a storyteller's voice. Pinder continued. Well, Larry thought for a moment about what he would said, and then he said more. I believe that a person can reach a certain level of success without being particularly special. But to get really big, to reach the kind of stratospheric success we are talking about, people need to have something on the inside, something that is genuine. As they arrived at the terrace table, Joe glanced around and just managed not to gasp out loud. Beyond the city, stretching below them to the west, lay a range of long rolling mountains half shrouded in cottony clouds. The view took Joe's breath away. They took their seats and the young woman Pinder had called Rachel appeared with a pot of her famous coffee. As she poured cup for both of them, Joe thought, Susan won't believe it, when I tell her about this place. He had told his wife only that he was going to meet with a potential client. He smiled as he pictured the expression that would light up her face when she heard about his adventure. Wow, said Joe. Larry King, who, by the way, this coffee is spectacular. Is Rachel's coffee really famous? It is in this home, Pinder said with a smile. I am not a betting man, but if I were, you know what I would bet. Joe shook his head. I would bet that one day it will be famous worldwide. Rachel is very special, been with us for about a few years now, but I expect she will be leaving us before long. I have been encouraging her to open a chain of coffee houses. Her coffee is too good not to share with the world. I can see what you mean. Joe leaned in and adopted his best confidential, just us guys talking manner. If she could reproduce this on an industrial scale, you too could make a killing. He sat back in his chair and took another sip. Pinder set his cup down and looked at Joe thoughtfully. Actually, Joe, in the brief time we have this morning, that is where I want to begin. You and I are coming from two different directions when it comes to wealth creation. If we are going to take this walk together, we need to start by facing the same direction. If you notice, what I said was share her coffee. What you said was make a killing. Do you see the difference? Joe was not sure if he did or not, but he cleared his throat and said, yes, I think so. Pinder smiled. Please don't misunderstand me. There is nothing wrong with making money. Lots of it. In fact, it is just not a goal that will make you successful. Reading the bewilderment on Joe's face, he nodded and put his hand up to signal that he would explain. You want to understand success? Yes, Joe nodded. All right, I am going to share my trade secret with you now. Pinder leaned forward a bit and softly spoke one word. Giving. Joe waited for more, but apparently that was it. I beg your pardon? Pinder smiled. Giving, repeated Joe. Pinder nodded. That is the secret to your success, your trade secret. Giving. Indeed, said Pinder. Oh, said Joe. Well, that is too simple. Even if it were true, which it can't possibly be, asked Pinder. Is that what you are thinking? Something like that? Joe admitted sheepishly. Pinder nodded. Most people have that reaction. In fact, most people just laugh when they hear that the secret to success is giving. He paused. Then again, most people are nowhere near as successful as they wish they were. Joe certainly couldn't argue that point. You see, Pinder continued, the majority of people operate with a mindset that says to the fireplace, first give me some heat, then I will throw some logs. Or that say to the bank, give me interest on my money, then I will make a deposit. And of course, it just doesn't work that way. Joe frowned, trying to parse the logic of Pinder's example. You see, you can't go in two directions at once. Trying to be successful with making money as your goal is like trying to travel a superhighway at 70 miles an hour with your eyes glued to the rear view mirror. He took another thoughtful sip and waited for Joe to process this thought. Joe felt as if his brain were going 70 on the highway in reverse. Okay, he began slowly. So you are saying successful people keep their focus on what they are giving, sharing, whatever. He saw Pinder nod. That is what creates their success. Exactly, cried Pinder. Now we are facing the same direction. But wouldn't an awful lot of people take advantage of you? Excellent question. Pinder set his cup down and leaned forward. Most of us have grown up seeing the world as a place of limitation rather than as a place of inexhaustible treasure, a world of competition rather than one of co-creation. He saw that Joe was puzzled again. Dog eat dog, he explained, as in, oh sure, we all act polite on the surface, but let us face it. It is really every man for himself that about sum it up. Joe admitted that it did about sum it up indeed. That's certainly what he believed anyway. Well, said Pinder, it's simply not true. He noted Joe's skeptical look and continued, have you ever heard people say you can't always get what you want? Joe grinned. You mean the Rolling Stones? Pinder smiled. Actually, I imagine people were saying that well before Mick Jagger's time. But yes, that is the general idea. You are not going to tell me that is not true, are you? That we actually do what we want. No, said Pinder. That one is true. In life, you often don't get what you want. But he leaned forward again and his voice grew softer with emphasis. Here is what you do get. You get what you expect. Joe frowned again, trying to mentally test out the truth of this last thought. Pinder leaned back and sipped his coffee. Watching Joe, after a moment's silence, he continued. Or put it another way, what you focus on is what you get. You have heard the expression, go looking for trouble and that is what you will find. Joe nodded. It's true, and not only about trouble, it is true about everything. Go looking for conflict and you will find it. Go looking for people to take advantage of you and they generally will. See the world as a dog eat dog place and you will always find a bigger dog looking at you as if you are his next meal. Go looking for the best in people and you will be amazed at how much talent, ingenuity, empathy and good will find. Ultimately, the world treats you more or less the way you expect to be treated. Pinder paused for a moment to let Joe absorb that thought, then added one more. In fact, Joe, you would be amazed at just how much you have to do with what happens to you. Joe drew a breath. So, he spoke this next thought slowly, thinking it through out loud. You are saying people don't take advantage of you because you don't expect them to. That because you don't put any focus on selfishness and greed, even when it is all around you, it doesn't have much impact on you. Then he had a flash of inspiration. Like a healthy immune system, the disease is all around you, but you don't catch it. Pinder's eye sparkled. Wonderful. That is an exquisite way of putting it. He kept talking as he scribbled in a little notebook he had produced from inside his jacket. I have to remember that. You mind if I use that bit of brilliance? No, go ahead. Joe gestured grandly. Take my brilliance, I am full of it. He paused, then added, least that is what my wife always says. Pinder burst out laughing as he slipped his little notebook back into the unseen pocket. He put both hands on his knees and looked directly at the younger man. Joe, I would like to do something with you. I would like to show you what I call my 5 laws of stratospheric success. If you can make a little time, say, every day for a week. Seriously, Joe nearly shuddered. For a week? I don't know how much time I can take off. Pinder waved his hand vaguely, as if to say, time means nothing. Not a problem. All we will need in 1 hour a day, your lunch hour. You do take time for lunch every day. Joe nodded, dumbfounded. The man was going to meet with him every day for a week and hand over the details of his most valuable trade secret. First, though, Pinder continued, first you will need to agree to my condition. Joe's heart snapped. The conditions, he had forgotten all about that. It was only after he agreed to Pinder's conditions, Brenda had said, that they would set up further meetings. Joe gulped. I really don't have the means. Pinder held up his hands. Please don't worry. It is nothing like that. So, Joe began. Do I need to sign an NDA or something? This brought a big booming laugh from Pinder. No. Non-disclosure agreements. If anything, the opposite. I call these 5 laws my trade secret not because I don't want people to find them, but for exactly the opposite reasons. I call them my trade secrets so that people will find them, so they will seek them, so they will place the proper value on them, because it is really a term of honor. Excuse me, Joe was lost. Pinder smiled. The word is said. Secret. Originally, it means something treasured, Something shifted, weighed, and set apart for its special value. Actually, if I had my way, everyone would know these five laws. In fact, he added, that is exactly why I have put these conditions in place. Actually, it is just one condition. Are you ready? Joe nodded. I need you to agree that you will test every law I show you by actually trying it out, not by thinking about it, not by talking about it, but by applying it in your life. Joe started to give his assent, but Pinder stopped him and continued. And that is not all. You must apply each law right away, and same day you first learn it. Joe looked at Pinder to see if he was kidding. Seriously? Before I go to sleep that night, or I will turn into a pumpkin? Pinder's face relaxed into a grin. No, you have a point. You won't turn into a pumpkin. But if you don't abide by my condition, our meetings will come to an end. But, Joe stammered, not to sound impertinent. How would you know? Another excellent question. How would I know? Pinder nodded thoughtfully. I wouldn't, but you would. It's the honor system. If you don't find a way to apply each law, I show you the very same day you learn it. I will trust that the next morning you will call Brenda to cancel the rest of our appointments. He looked at Joe. I have to know you are taking this seriously, but here is what is far more important. You have to know you are taking this seriously. Joe nodded slowly. I think I understand. You want to make sure I am not wasting your time. Fair enough. Pinder smiled. Joe, no offense, but you don't have that power. Joe looked confused. I mean the power to waste my time. Only I can do that. And truthfully, it is a vice I gave up a long time ago. The reason for my condition is that I don't want to see you wasting your time. Joe looked down and saw Pinder's outstretched hand. He took it and gave it a firm shake. He felt a thrill go through him, as if he had just embarked on an adventure worthy of Indiana Jones, and mirrored the chairman's broad smile with one of his own. You have got a deal.